to adolto jono dole adishin jonon da ton niston ke den dan lo ashon beso tlabchinada iliero di wa keya ha del neho yo beneshli ho ben kel nashnen jonie si yego jono hije bakadi net do di da be landa itle yesem an hed an it di hot on ke keya khada hodil ne ebe get khalt zelole win zo je tro hatle je keda hanot enigi khana zne label khabel haz anigi jonie en keleshni da khone na ngi in le de nebe keya bakau bitsat tin do da dil klar no shin da iniste nit za de trahan slon is gal khadot in lede ja is just so na din hast da na hasan de pos do de nebetsa de netin has anigi da anishigi de niya de na hasan na ha cross al seta inishi atsin shlish ashlatin de neyel ja anada alt trat at sin se trago dat dina din tratin na khay babako da noda horo de ne wa ke dat enigi ja dalt ke ado horo hanas tende klode yesen na khay belagana khit or shin de nedan lenigi horon khan nada hakka aji ke de shwalti yesen to hashi to has anigi de neda hi khato baka de shwalta no trico whatsin is because anado shada ate marana was do how so do aida tsinik da hola do des to shin jono ke khai jegin ya to le to le khair dan le abahazin belagana na khaidat enigi yo babal ta hojo di to neke dat enigi do ba hoshi dan ne khoden etrani yande si jena yil na hona hot khoden na de sta na de shwalta no hot orim jono do le chudi si shlatin de ne khoad neke dat enigi bilya da idol hot bida inni shaje ya do le into you do khone na nigi le sinna bas habitin ke had ini le chi na ya ba ho wan be al ghadet ani ba lana asli ya kheta nizim ada shgal khadid yesen jonie ne athi pa ham sebetin be wajhigi asna os tin na ya ba ho wan de ne akon ke da hat enigi do de mil cha de khagi aj chuta os enigi be chuta hos in no da peshes na hon sin kushi de mil ho la ho khad anna khache de ne chuta hos en in le tselt chi da azkan be do jo ade chiyan da hanni do khod in da khacho de khadal yagi na tin shlana na khaygo abi gato le kayab khana hol so do do ni ho ben hast do khada khana zle dan lenigi do khada nake da hat enigi akhya he kinan ta asho bilana asli do ayise di asibchi dan zgar khada da atho inna de shkha do ayi de goda chiyan da tskin so da danigi do chiyan da tanaite shnig asho khwala balaz ado to bi shiln da hasna in li ta ikisida jono yat ho do ni to da alsa to be ta ikisgin tskhagi nado nilkha noda ho to yeshil da hasna do asho di da inni go ne ayo hot tshago ho do ni no eshi bune china ho do ni gi alla de mi do ba khare nezetin de kago keslagan jono khahol do ni no yinda are khon shlone ya do le yesen are hi khdo so khil da hosil ne ya hen kenan ta hoden hen ya hen na pas habetin tin pa dan jono khil na hasil ne do hot ba he huinzin hoden hen ya gi da no da yeshil da hasne do hunne nanigi in le na nisn tsagi bida annishigi di khodon le allare nezetin da ba thatti da ba sos na kidza da yol tkhag al khode ilagi beso tlaba chonta do ni no to beso be wajhi in le khasthin il hajin ultra beso ba nanete ko hoto ke eschin go chonta ya are tkhon shlonde le ka na ke ade yanji khay wa betas anigi ade amado jado nalado hit oshi be kahgi ban khalchin dai so ejge ya han ke ni na yese din khalchin be ke da not oro sani do stwi ye go bi yesin sikkesi hajo ba gi do bal khoye gi hot oda do le no shi hot on khalchin da be not tin di si do khalchin ya da hazat li do da dil kho to in khalchin do badani zena سيك إن دلتو نادا دي ناتو بلتاحوي تو نانشتوي تا هدات إيجي تو إيه هت أوش عشان لا بيسو بيبكا إيه إيه هت أو داد نصل إيه هت أوش يو هت أوش تيات كيلنا دون تخوي هشينا إيدو ليش أرو تو خرسن تاوشن إن دي نهت أو دا عشان إيدا بانان نانشتا بكي إنت خشينا إيدو ليش نون هاشين شجع دشكارا يو بنشني دين ده خشيت أوكي هوي إنجي أني إنت أوري يبيجا نودا هاشين استويدو ساني دا يدال كيدا بنشني إيه هت أوشين بيسو لا بجهون دالياجين كيشيل تاو دا نوتا نكالشن نيهانوت أنجي دو شدا بالخان داشت كي هت أوشين تاتني بجي يدال كي واشنطن دبا جلو دو بيجا تنجاين تا نادل تصون دو لادا نن يهنجي دون سن كيسي دا بنتخا جن ساشين كي أو استويدو ساني ييجو دا صولني دو كتس إيستاشين ييجو بجن دخوي نانجي إيه أنهي واشنطن دو كا إيه دو هت أوه جوبا وفينزو وهت إن دي هيو كشي دميل يجي هنلا تهي كايجي أني نارتهيجي هت أوشين دان تين بجن هدال يسلو خيه دولي إيه بي هول تونسن يسان خيدا نيت أودون لي واشنطن دو أني إيه بعدا نيت ليدو لي نيت زو نيت إن هت أوشين يات إيه هي كاتولي سويا أرسلون لي يا إشجان صحنا تين هست إيجو يول كاتل دان لي تسنا باس هبتين ناست تكو هديت أزي النهجي نيا استو إستو أجن جنو خنا هدلنا أجي جنو يات إيه كنتلا نانت أزي الإن بالخز أنيجي إيه دي مسنا دو تشيرو إيه دني لنجي حتى شيء يان سيدا ديز كيز دو ديت أو تيس با يان كنيات إيه هندول تسلا نو إيه بدا إنيش أسني دو هنزاغو خول جيش نو تيشين لي واشنطن بكاجيش تلج بتو تشيجي إيه بيسون كيتش هندا يلاغو إيه أجي بدا إنيش دي يقول يا بيسو أثار نزت دين دو ما تخطين دو ما استخا دميل تسا هني لا باهليهم كنيت سي بازل نهي سين كده نكويدشي نزت دين أجي ديل نيش تو إتاهوس تو أجي دمبتشين دا إليا بيسو خدي اللي تو إيه هتو خدو بحنست تيت أو دي نبكي بكاشو دا إنيشو إيه دنه بيسو بيدا هاللورو هو دا علي خدا خد اللي دو خيدا يكيدا لنجيشي يكان دا زغو بألتشين دا شيدا هاللو إيه هتو ديدا نشغنو نيت ترين لي تخونا نستيزو إيه أجي زي إلإني كده ديز إن كده ييغو يات إيهو حاجة سنستيد نهاز تخانيجي دو اللاج دا ستاهيجي دا CEO يسدو كيوني دا ستاو دا إيه خد أنجنو بنانش إدا يلا توبا سيتي Regional Healthcare Corporation بدأ نو إيه خيه نوت إن أجي ندال نشجي نشغنو دا أولا ديلا خد أنجنو نانش بعد هيدست أبه هدات زي إلإن دا ينيل نشغني أنسونا بانسس كيس خنا هود أهشي ألنهتو ليش نو ألون خانا دي تاسين كنن تانا دي زردي لو خوان لا أبول خادين دال نشجي خوان لا بخنا هود النين خادين ناس ليش خاطها نو إشي آده تخناهن شلودلي إشي دي خدا بهنست تأنيش كناهي تزوجو دنبكي وبكا أسلا دميل يجي هني لا خوان دهيتو نسلا شو دي تو خانا أو ياسي بهن نتزا ديشي كوشي هوان نانا نسلجين جون دولة صدا إيه هت أورولي أستو هني نانجي إن لي أخواتو نانا السنة بيجته كيا كوشينا خي يستين كي دبغانجي لا هوان لا بتشوهل يا بنالي دبت نو إن جونو أتيبا لي واشنطن بأتين بوجهي هو أشون كوشينا خي تزدين دبا نا خي جه هوان جه تدي نو دون خا أيه دو كيا تاستين دو بيش لشي دو تخدا دو تيجي دو تا نو كوشينا خي قدن دا نزنا نا خي دب آيا دا كيا ناس عند يخي دا إيه هت أندا بناد ديج نشون دي كان هوان بنيه دا نيل صوجا دي هوان ناتزي كان كيشون يادا نو شي باني يالا مسنا دون شين لوم سبدين دو با خاب ناخي دو سبدين دو با لاب ناخي هو كي هت دو بتسوك دو بالشندا الكيدا هت يا يسن جونيه يهوان بي كي هني تنجي اسليج نغو ارولتو بكاغو دا دو تويا دازلي دو اهوت اند ني سوك نا كيد دو تخاد سوك دن لني بالكيدا هني دو دي هوان ني تزغي با كي هوين زين دا نو سي مسنا دو تشي بالخجون ارولتو خادا إيكستا نو إيشين كيلتو خيها كديني سيش جينا يسنا أنهي لهدي دنبو واشنطن سييغو دنب سكين لو دات هي دنيت كده هوني هيت أولا بكادي جا دشنو دهاشي أبندا دهاشي شندال نشيجي دا بجي يداشت كيل أنهي لاتوني زيم هد أو دنب كادا إيجير هدو بيها نست Ise the nebich in the Hoyt Nangi Joy out of the Nebo Washington Ilieroin Banjonia Aro Shin the Halenigido Sashin Hiesla Hoda not a big Honda Crits Easto Hada Tehoda Bindel Nada dos Woto that the Anin da Schlatin Stratin Ashil and Heda Hedot Hatin Ehoda not any own a big Masanado Cheyego Nasta Slingido but East of Chin the Hoyt Nangi Ebaka Ilieroin Jonodo Lesta of Nene Ehot Odi Wabaka or Wodigi Bahensen the one you be honest again not on in slong Kanaita Nezetin one sustain about Hanela one the has Zindos and the has nil you all yet to the Hoja kiss on in do the Netahika Arjananish begedest Igi Arjacayas Tinibinina the one to that and again Sebetin about Din one dot Nene a hot oh the initial Bahudanosin a Arjan large shadenish Sarah Slim but no a Arjan large shadenish out of the niche gas Tanadi in the settled don't eat res duro bil a hedish crego a yopa hen negon late is it a Hades credoja keda the net cage kedas ad Hades credos tuido sanida eot on jonia are sasit lido is lenes garden henya da nora the ayota desken shida is a sheltrato rodo jad keta is so tradesh hot in e bashel khojo e hot o are sahazlin e are not ani lan yan lenigi beshpans an Simonson but no e hot o are lasalim adon le na kidamo goshi nya khanati ne to honene bisna ho agi inle bin ants was it alla to bin an it ants was nez naj that nijoj bakagi istlejna khoche dayil bana hol jij di hot o shi ba hoda no sinaje di nez na iskaj bana hot don le be hotel zinigi e yo toj di e ya nizad go ne isna hol ishin kushin kwidel ze na khay allaj di kida net no da ishi adet khada on slodle tsel chi bisna ho na nijoj yo toj e aje bil khaz adole adole ado bana nicht khast no so do kwila bahli do le no da shi inle la nicht in sikke sigi slashin da chapita tos khash shi www.gallupceremonial.com/tickets aje shi da tosi e hoton kil bada hazne aje shi de hodol jish khodoya the nebananta Dr. Buu Nygren horohnen kichena ne tla do khah do le shi da no sonigi do khad da tin la old what one da sinta e hot o nansis case do khah do le yise hui jin khandel nishtona nishadan no anigi ayon khidin yise hui jin khandel nishtona nishadan no anigi ayon khidin sina e hot o
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Michelle Jones. I am the Executive Director of the Navajo Nation Gaming Regulatory Office. One of the things that I always like to remind people is that we are not the Navajo Nation Gaming Enterprise. We are actually a Navajo Nation program that oversees all gaming activities, regulates all gaming activities on the Navajo Nation. We are a Navajo Nation program under the Office of the President and Vice President. Right now, what we are working on is revising the Navajo Nation Gaming Ordinance. This is the law under Title V of Navajo Nation Codes. for gaming activities on the Navajo Nation. So we are in the process of getting that completed, updating a lot of outdated information, as well as preparing for some changes that will be happening under our Navajo Nation gaming regulations. Most importantly, that includes getting the regulations for small bingo games and for raffles on the Navajo Nation. Right now, the Navajo Nation law does allow for that. However, given that we need to have regulations in place, until those regulations are in place, technically small bingo games and raffles are not allowed at this moment. The other things that we are doing is that we will be getting out more information in regards to that during the Navajo Nation fairs and events that have been happening. If you're in the areas of during the fair times, and we were at our Eastern Navajo Fair in Crown Point, when we know that the Chinle Central Fair is coming up as well, and then the Navajo Nation Fair, Window Rock, the Northern Navajo Fair in Shiprock, and as well as in Tuba City, Western Navajo Fair. Stop by our booth and ask us questions about regulations or gaming activities, or any concerns that you might have in regards to gaming activities. Others reminders that we usually like to send out to everybody is to be careful about online gaming. Right now, there is no online internet gaming allowed on the Navajo Nation. So we always try to remind people to be careful when it comes to either sports betting or online casinos, online bingo, even social media bingo and raffles, that those activities are not regulated, as they are not licensed, because they are not allowed right now. So there is incidents where a lot of these vendors will just take your money. You will not get your winnings, and there's really at this point nothing that we can do, because it is an illegal and unregulated gaming activity. If you are on the Arizona side of the Navajo Nation, if you would like more information about these online casinos, as well as what they call sports betting, there's websites out there that are called prediction markets that claim to be in sports, regarding to sports betting, that they are not associated with that. However, they are not licensed vendors to provide that type of activity. So you can go to the Arizona Department of Gaming's website to find out more information. They have been sending out a lot of information in regards to a lot of illegal gaming and online gaming within the state of Arizona. We actually will be starting to provide more information on our website in regards to this, and try to have everyone aware that at the moment internet gaming and online gaming on the Navajo Nation is illegal. So please do not attempt or try to use these sites, because if you lose your money, really there's nothing to do, because a lot of these sites are overseas. They're not here in the United States. So please be careful and aware of these sites. There is legitimate online sports betting, mobile sports betting in the state of Arizona, which is off the reservation. You can go to the Arizona Department of Gaming's website to see who those providers are for sports betting. So they're usually your most popular that you can recall, like FanDuel, DraftKings. There's actually Seminole Hard Rock bet that the Navajo Nation does operate off the reservation as a commercial, under a commercial license for sports betting. So hope to tell you guys more soon, later and soon, about what other updates we'll have in regards to regulations. Have a great day.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Heather Claw, the Attorney General of the Navajo Nation Department of Justice. Appreciate this opportunity to go ahead and provide some information to the public, Facebook, social media, regarding what Department of Justice has been doing. I want to concentrate on two items, and right now is I want to talk about the Office of the Prosecutor, and share some of their events that they have been able to go ahead and provide. One of the uh, subjects that I wanted to talk about is their sovereignty. It's very important that the Navajo Nation does protect its sovereignty against outside forces, so that we're working in conjunction with them rather than trying to step over each other's toes. I'm pretty sure that everybody's aware, during when you're watching Law and Order or any of those, they talk about jurisdiction a lot. But with the Navajo tribes or any tribal authority, we do want to go ahead and make sure that our sovereignty and our processes are respected, because it's so easy to go ahead and be stepped over. Um, One of the success that the Office of the Prosecutor had was they were able to stop a federal attempt to remove Navajo inmate from the tribal custody using a writ of habeas corpus. And that failed it failed to meet the requirements under Navajo law. So no federal detainer had been filed, making the writ procedurally invalid under Title 17 in NC Section 1962. And OTP acted correctly and legitimately in refusing to go ahead and let the inmate go. Within the days, the U.S. Attorney agreed that the Office of Tribal Prosecutor's position, and they squashed the writ. And this was a decisive defense of the Navajo legal jurisdiction. If the Office of the Prosecutor did not intervene, a dangerous precedent could have been set, where internal governments could bypass Navajo legal protections and remove individuals from tribal custody without proper process. This particular victory, and it is a victory, safeguards the nation's sovereignty and reaffirms that any external prosecutions must respect Navajo law. And it also showed that the Office of the Tribal Prosecutor and their deep readiness and preparedness to act swiftly and be effective in order to protect the integrity of our justice system. Another example of that is extraditing a defendant. There was a defendant that the Office of the Prosecutor secured and executed a presidential extradition warrant for a defendant, and an individual charged with multiple counts of aggravated DUI by the Graham County Attorney's Office. Defendant's blood alcohol level was an alarming 0.318%, nearly 4 times Arizona's legal limit. He was behind the wheel with a suspended license and openly drinking, posing a clear threat to any community he entered. His case involved both aggravated DUI and aggravated extreme DUI, the offenses that have taken too many lives across Arizona and the Navajo Nation. During our council meeting, there was a really emotional demonstration that was conducted at the beginning of the council, and this was involving 2 young women who were killed in a DUI accident. And these are things that are preventable. So in this particular case, we did cooperate, and we're always going to cooperate with outside agencies. It's just making sure that they follow the process in order to go ahead and either obtain those who are maybe here on the reservation, either hiding out or anything of that sort. But we're definitely always willing to work with outside agents in order to go ahead and make sure justice is served. But it is also very important that these outside agencies do follow the procedures that are in place for the Navajo Nation law on that. And in this particular situation, it was done in the correct way, and we were able to go ahead and assist this particular jurisdiction in order to go ahead and obtain the defendant, the individual, to have them extradited from Navajo Nation to their jurisdiction as well. So that's definitely something that we are appreciative of, and working with outside jurisdictions in order to go ahead and have that respect. We are also one of the areas while we're on it in Title 17. Title 17 is our criminal code, and this has not been updated or amended for quite some times. We have certain codes, criminal codes, that we do need to go ahead and make sure that we're updating or adding on to them. And so we're looking forward to this. We definitely appreciate the help from our sponsors on legislative. I believe Ms. Amber Crotty is the one that's assisting with the sponsor, along with Chairwoman Eugenia Charles Newton, I believe. And I appreciate the law and orders assistance in order to go ahead and make sure that we get these updated going through. When we are updating it, it's going to be an extensive amendment. So it's pretty much an overhaul, and it's much needed. So we're looking forward to this criminal code to be on either a special session for council to go through the process, and to be on the council for them to go ahead and act upon. So definitely appreciate the council's assistance in order to update their criminal code. So that's something that we're looking forward to. And that's the update that I wanted to go ahead and share with you at the Office of the Prosecutor. I'm sorry that I didn't have Chief Prosecutor Jackson on the call online, and maybe next time I'll go ahead and have him provide an extensive update on Title 17 to provide that information to the public so they can understand in detail what we can be expecting for the Title 17 Criminal Code amendments. The other item that I want to go ahead and talk about is to moving closer to our water settlement. If you remember, last year, the council voted 22-0 to pass our Arizona water settlement. We're still moving through the process. Of course, like any government, there is government procedures that we walk through. It is going to be and should be acted in Congress right now to go ahead and pass it. However, just like any jurisdiction, just like any government, is that we do need to go ahead and go through the process that it needs to meet. One of the considerations that the government wants us to take a look at is working with the surrounding states, what we call the 7 basin states. In order to go ahead and obtain and moving our water settlement forward, they want to be able to have those 7 states, what we call sign a consensus letter. They feel that it would be easier and less and be able to deal through the politics in order to go ahead and confirm our water settlement. So we're diligently working through that. It is a tedious task, but our water rights team has been doing a wonderful job reaching out to those outside entities in order to go ahead and get us educating them on what the water settlement means to the Navajo Nation and to other tribes that are involved with that, and what benefits or what can the other states surrounding expect. Just like everybody, it takes a lot of education, takes a lot of meeting, and just sitting down and just advocating for the Navajo Nation and to settle its water settlements for the state of Arizona. So we're definitely moving forward on that. I personally have a very positive, I feel positive and hopeful that we will be able to get it through within the administration, the current administration we have here on the Navajo Nation. And we're looking forward to continuing to work with the Navajo Nation Congress in order to go ahead and get that passed. It's unfortunate that it is a tedious process, but we are continuing to move forward on that. I just wanted to give a little update on that. I know people are probably wondering, after we've had hearings on it and after it passed from the Navajo Nation's council, where is that moving forward? Just like I said, just like any government, things move quite slowly. And to tell you the truth, water is a controversial situation. It shouldn't be, because we all need it. but it tends to be when we're working with surrounding people who also basically have needs of water too as well. So it is in a positive situation. I would like to go ahead and provide a more detailed presentation on that in the near future. But right now, like I said, we're just working through the politics and what needs to be done in order to be enacted. So we're hopeful that might be occurring next year. Actually, there was one other issue that I wanted to talk about with the prosecutor's office. In order for us to go ahead and work more diligently with our outside agencies, there is a position which was in the U.S. Attorney's Office. Every office has it, but this particular one is with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of New Mexico. We want to go ahead and secure a Special Assistant U.S. Attorney, which in short they call a SASA. And what this is there's an attorney that is selected by the Navajo Nation, which works within the Navajo Nation prosecutor's office. This particular position would authorize them to work directly and prosecute federal charges in the U.S. District Court while continuing to serve the Navajo community here. This designation is particularly vital for major crimes, cases that often overlap federal and tribal jurisdiction, and includes violent crimes, sexual assault, and child abuse. We are looking and helping to work with two of our Office of the Prosecutors. They are preparing to take the state bar. Actually, I think that we're waiting for their results on that because you do have to be a state bar licensed attorney in order to go ahead and qualify for this Special Assistance U.S. Attorney position. This quarter, we are looking at beginning to draft a memorandum of understanding to formalize this arrangement. When this is implemented, this cross-designation will allow Navajo prosecutors to pursue justice from start to finish without delay or jurisdictional disruption. It will also strengthen the tribal-federal coordination and keep culturally informed attorneys in the lead on cases that directly impact Navajo communities. This initiative is definitely a major step towards leveling the prosecutional playing field and reinforcing the sovereignty of the Navajo Nation legal voices in federal spaces. At the Department of Justice, we're constantly looking at how do we fortify the Navajo Nation's sovereignty, and to go ahead and put forward and strengthen the laws that we have here on the Navajo Nation in order to protect our communities. We want to make sure that we are being responsible and being able to go ahead and lift the level of safety here on our nation. I know at times it gets difficult because of the lack of resources that we have or the lack of personnel that we might have. So I definitely appreciate those in the community that have come and showed appreciation to the police department, to the fire department, to public safety, and in turn to support the Department of Justice Office of the Prosecutor. We're committed to continually to strengthen all that in order to put all of what we can in order for us to protect the lives. And we appreciate the cooperation with the President's Office, the Public Defender's Office, the Navajo Nation Council, and in particularly the Law and Order Committee. They've been great with working with the Navajo Nation. I'm asking for us to continue to have that cooperative relationship so that we can go ahead and provide this and move the safety for the nation, the community of the nation. So thank you for letting me add that in. One of the other issues that I want to go ahead and continue to commit with a partnership with the council is also our procurement process. Our Department of Justice has been working really close and with the office of with the Controller's Office. We want to be able to go ahead and provide our standards to go ahead and make sure that the money, Navajo Nation's money, are secured and spent as needed, but also not to put too much regulations on top of it, so it's hard and are difficult to spend the money. So we definitely appreciate the Controller's Office and Mr. Controller McCabe in cooperating and working with our Department of Justice Economic Development Unit to go ahead and put forth that change in the Procurement Act. I believe Miss Chairwoman Shandine Parrish is the one that's going to be sponsoring that, and definitely appreciate the Budget and Finance's push to make sure that that is completed. So thank you for that. One of the other legislations that we're looking at too as well is the Department of Personnel Management. We want to go ahead and update, and been working for this in some time, is to update the Navajo Nation Personnel Manual to update that and provide some amendments in order for us to go ahead and be able to work on getting those vacancies, positions filled, but also making sure that the level of efficiency is going through. I know a lot of times people have commented on Facebook, social media, things take too long in the Navajo Nation process, and we understand that, and we don't disagree with that. And this is how we're trying to figure out how we go ahead and make the policies and laws more efficient. But we can't do this without the help of the legislative branch and the executive branch that are conducting these departments that are responsible for these processes. So I'm excited that I believe that all three of those are able to go ahead and be completed by the end of this year. Definitely appreciate the support and the congratulations those that have reached out on my confirmation. It's an honor to be working here for the Navajo Nation and to be appointed and confirmed the next Attorney General. I look forward to moving our Department of Justice in a positive manner, and I think we have already been doing those changes. And so I'd like to go ahead and thank the Department of Justice staff, their managing attorneys, and our staff attorneys too as well. They're an incredible group of people that have dedication to the Navajo Nation and wanting to go ahead and see the Navajo Nation succeed. So thank you again for that support, and I've had hundreds of texts, emails, just reaching out and telling me congratulations. So thank you so much for this. I think that's all that I have for now in such a short amount of time. Looking forward to providing another update in the next future. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. Yati Kado Adai Isnasagi, Shi Tony Spolanis Inshye. I'm the Division Director for Economic Development. I'm a Torichin Dene, and I'm born for Tachini, Lithuanian. I come from the community of Big Mountain, Zislan Saho, and that's not Navajo Mountain. Big Mountain is near the Hopi Mesas and Red Lake. Grew up very traditional, herding sheep and planting corn and having multiple homes. We used to move our homesteads, but I really wanted to. We've been doing a lot of work in the Division of Economic Development, and there's one there's a real urgent situation that has arose, and I wanted to talk to you about that. It has to do with tourism, and I wanted to educate our listeners and we have we've been out in the field at Monument Valley, over in Four Corners, out in Antelope Canyon, and I have a little bit of a slideshow here. Let me try to let me see how I do this with it. So what I want to talk to you about sustainable tourism. You guys all have read about the recent, I don't know why it's reading by myself, the recent fires and what's going on the North Rim. And it's affecting a lot of our tour companies. It's affecting our marina. You've all been hearing about the tariffs and how that's, right out, we had like a 14% drop. It's actually higher now. We're starting to see drops. We talked to several major tour companies this week, and we're seeing massive drops in Canadian visitors, for example. So this is really concerning, and a lot of that is attributed to the tariffs. But another area that we're seeing major drops in is because of the fire. There's we sat down with 7 tour companies this week, and then also our marina, and we're seeing anywhere from a 27 to 50% drop in visitor numbers. And so that's really concerning. That's very impacted on a lot of our businesses. And it's really at dangerous levels. The fire's up about 100,000 acres now. Only 4% contain. Just a comparison, that's almost more than twice the size of what we had at Navajo with the Oak Ridge fire. And this one is no containment at all. So one of the things that we research is, well, what happens after a fire? Well, we bounce right back, and most of the data shows that it takes time. There are a lot of tour companies have stopped their tours out here. A lot of bus companies, a lot of major booking companies. Even the hotel stays are very low right now. So it takes time, and so I'm going to talk about some of the strategies to bring that back. We're going to need major marketing. We're going to need major plan and to deal with this. Another threat is the lake levels. I wanted to talk about that too because of the snow melt and the lack of snow up on the Rockies. Climate change. I know we're not supposed to talk about that, but it's serious. Increased temperatures, lack of rainfall, volatile weather, a lot of dust, a lot of things that exacerbate these issues, and we're seeing really all-time levels of lack of snow buildup. So they're expecting a major drop in lake levels next year. So that's something that's very concerning, Gorte. I wanted to talk a little bit about what's called the Butler's life cycle. Yeah, you really, where tourism starts is exploration. People's hiking through the canyon. Our people, my family, we live right down the road in Kaibito, and I remember exploring these canyons, and so it's really saying, there's a potential for tourism here. Somebody starts a tour company. There's some planning. There's some efforts. Some families get together, and then you have development. You have actual. And that's where a lot of the area is. It's going into consolidation right now, and that's really getting organized, getting your parking lots, getting your trails, getting your businesses really established, getting actual bathroom facilities, larger and larger tour buses, just really an organization and offering some differentiation, some different products, and then what happens at some point, again, this happens almost all over the world, is you enter a period of stagnation and then a decline, and or you can, if you start managing your visitation, you can enter a period of rejuvenation. So this is something that I provided some education on at our tourism summit. Now, I really want you to look at stagnation. It's really, there's a period where there's major issue, there's a drop off in visitation. In this case, the issue is a fire. A fire has started that's just really closed North Rim for the rest of the year. North Rim is, Grand Canyon, you got South Rim and North Rim. A lot of companies, a lot of tour companies, they come to the North Rim. It's actually a major investment for them. A lot of them stop in the Page area. They add other activities. Then they go into the North Rim. So that's pretty much closed probably for some time, because a lot of the even the hotel, the Great Lodge, has burned, and the fire continues to burn. So it's really a long ways from reopening. And then you got drop in lake levels. That's something. And then you got really symptoms of tourism. We're hearing from different community leaders that there's a lot of backcountry folks that are just going out in the backcountry. They're getting their permit maybe from like an office in Cameron, Parks and Rec's office, I'm thinking, and but it's not really coordinated with the community. There are a lot of the folks are upset. I know I heard this loud and clear from like officials at Broadway Gap, and so how do we manage this better? Because you're starting to see some of the negative effects. You heard about what happened at over at Grand Falls is a good example. We're just a lot of outsiders were marketing, we're making money off the visitation, very low, few local benefits, no local tour guides. Then you get a period of the decline, and that's really what we don't want for our tourism. We want rejuvenation, we want longevity. So what are some of the tools? I really wanted to talk about this. We have a big part of sustainable tourism. Sustainable is long-term, minimal impact, helps the culture, helps the community. It's really, you got to plan for tourism. You look at the vision, what is it? What kind of future do you want? What does it look like 5-10 years? What kind of, how does it feel? How does tourism fit with the community? Where the kids, where the elders, where's the culture, where's the architecture, where's the community benefits, things like that. How does it look in the future, And then what are values to preserve? What are you want to protect for the community? What are, is it like, is it a certain style of farming, things like that? What are values that you want to preserve? And then you start identifying projects that fit that, it could be like, hey, we want to do trail, we want to do a couple of Airbnbs, we want somebody to start a food company, things like that. You start organizing your tourism, develop a strategic plan, develop tourism task force. These are really some of the tools that it gets more. I mean, this is actually degree programs. There's actually professionals that this is all they do is design tourism plans. There's a lot of management tools. There's, I know we all travel. You've seen some of the good tools out there. I always look at like Acoma Pueblo with Sky City, just how it's really organized. Even as a Navajo, I go there and I'm really respectful. Some of the Hopi villages too, they're really well organized. There are a lot of signage, a lot of things that, don't take pictures, don't know videos, there's certain things that really are off limits for tourists. There's directional tools, obviously, even like certain trails, rock work, things like that. And then orientation, brochures, signage, videos, things that visitors can read before they come, just really that orientation. Big important thing is feedback. I know I always listen to the local folks, like how's all this tourism affecting you? Are they intruding? Are they coming to your cornfield? Are they taking pictures of you out street herding? So you got to ask, there's ways to get feedback and then make sure that you really correct, there's a correction plan, because so these are ways and really whole community benefits, not just a few families. How do you spread the impacts? And I mean, this is kind of stuff that like most off-res communities are really looking at, is how do you spread the visitation benefits out? So I really wanted to talk about tourism and these are some of the things we're thinking about, because we want longevity with our tourism sector. And I know I've gone a little over, but I just want to say Yahat and Tsago, and you all have a good day. We're actually actively trying to figure out a strategy here, and again, how to help our tourism sector continue on. So yeah, thank you.